thank you so much for dropping by to speak with us. I'm really interested to get your views because you are a global expert in free zones, and it's such a uniquely challenging time right now. I'm wondering, what are you advising zones right now as to how they can adapt and thrive?
Well, Courtney, very nice to see you again. I think Latin American free trade zone near 800 are in the best moment in the history. Why? Because all these changes in international trade, some doors are closed, but every time one door is closed, another door is open. And this is the right time for Latin American free trade zone to open the doors. Why? Because if you see in the Trump number one, then begin the world trade with China, the Latin American export to the U.S. jumped from 400 billion to 600 billions. It's amazing. And with Trump 2, maybe another 200 billion or 300 billion is going to come to the region. Not because Mr. Trump wants to help Latin America, because they are fighting a lot with another geographies in the maybe Asian countries, maybe China, maybe Vietnam, and maybe Europe. And I think the free trade zone in Latin America has to be with the open eyes to read the opportunities than what businesses are closer to another countries than are open to Latin American countries. And there are 10 countries in Latin America that have a free trade agreement with the United States yet.
Right.
10 countries of the 20 countries in the world that have a free trade agreement with the United States. And that means to be near the United States, with have a current free trade agreement, and to have a very cheap labor and cost, is an amazing opportunity. For that reason, the Latin American Free Trade Zone Association is working very hard to discover the new opportunities that the environment that is created in this moment is open to the 800 Latin American free trade zones.
In which kind of industries do you think Latin American zones are particularly well placed to compete in the new global value chains?
Several. One of those are, for example, they are going to close car industry. Maybe some auto part not. Agro industry. Now Latin America exported $300 billion in food because every time the U.S. people are eating more and they need to eat. And you have in Latin America a lot of different weathers and different conditions of time and weather. And I think the agro region is going to have a lot of opportunity. Even the services, logistics. If the United States close to China the de minimis that needs 100 million packages per year, guess please, in what country they are going to produce or receive that package to the United States? Latin America.
Right.
The e-commerce free zones is going to boom if the legislation of de minimis is close to China. And the problem of Latin America is vision. How we can redefine the vision of the Latin American countries around these new opportunities.
Right. So it's good actually to think around these opportunities instead of just some of the challenges. Do you see also opportunities in developing in terms of AI and technologies and harnessing AI to improve the function of zones, but also to be attracting startups in the AI realm? Where do you see Latin America in that?
In several ways. First, data centers. As you know, you are one of the best experts in the world in foreign direct investment. Data center now is captured the 10% of the foreign investment. And Latin America have a lot of things to do in data center because we have a city like Bogota with the very cold weather that is going to save a lot of energy having data centers with cold weather.
Right.
There are amazing projects in free zones, data center, cloud free zones, to to reach that opportunity. The second is the artificial intelligence has a lot to do with the the process of procedure of international trade.
Right.
A small and medium enterprise with a good program through artificial intelligence can reach the international market,
Right.
can facilitate the process, can find a partner to fill a container and so and so.
Right.
And I think it's a lot of opportunity about that.
And is there scope for AI to be deployed more actively in terms of improving the functions of the zones, how they interact with their tenants, and so on?
I think the free zone will be use the artificial intelligence to help his tenants, his partners, his users, his companies to understand the opportunity of the international trade, not in fasting the procedure to be more fast, but even to identify the opportunities. And I think the Latin American Free Trade Zone Association have to a lot of do about that.
That's right. And in terms of attracting, but also encouraging and facilitating the development of startups, do you think zones are active enough in being hubs for innovation and supporting startup companies?
Have to be more. I think in this Congress is an integrated economy between harbors, ports, and free zones. And I see that we have to create a community to discover the new opportunity.
Yeah.
If you see the tendency in the world, for example, Jebel ports bought Jebel free trade zones. And if they don't have to buy, they have only to make joint ventures to identify joint opportunities, because the harbor more containers, but maybe that container has to be in the next door free zones. And if they join to discover this opportunity, that would be fantastic. And if you see Latin America now have a 30% of export per capita less than the world export per capita. The world export per capita is $3,000 per person. In Latin America, we are $2,000. We have to fill that gap.
Yeah.
And the only way, if all the Latin American free trade zone with the ports is going to understand and push the small and medium enterprise, even big enterprise, to fill that gap.
Right. And where is the role of liquidity, venture capital, and bringing in that type of investment? Do you see a role for the zones to help facilitate that?
Well, without money, it's not possible to make that dream. For that reason, multilateral organization like IDB, Inter-American Development Bank, like CAF, like another organization the private banks have big roles to push in the internationalization process in all Latin America. Because if you see the map, America as a whole is the only hemisphere that touch the two poles of the world, the south and the north. But there are the less integrated hemisphere in the world. Only less than the 20% of the trade are between themselves. If you see Europe, it's 55%. If you see the Asian, it's 45%. We are less than 20%.
Yeah.
For that reason, I think it's a lot of money behind the integration. The dream of make America great again, I would understand to make America as a whole hemisphere, from Canada to Argentina.
Right. And you mentioned about the support of the multilateral banks. But what about private capital? Where is the role there?
Even. You need both.
Yeah, absolutely. And Martin, before we wrap up, what is your message of inspiration to Latin America's zones as to how to navigate the current moment in time?
I think we have a cultural problem. We are from Mexico to Argentina, we are a very inward mentality, closed mentality. For that reason, maybe because the mountains, the Andes, that begin in Chile and finish maybe in Mexico, they didn't allow the people to see to think to the international market. And the other is Mr. Porter, who is the new father of the international trade. He's the necessity, the urgently is the mother of international trade. You have to need. And we are in the hemisphere of the abundance. We have a lot of food, we have a lot of energy, we have a lot of happiness. We don't know to go abroad.
Yeah.
But I think we have to understand that the world is changing, and now this decade is the decade of Latin America.
Great. That's a good note to end on, and I'm sure that message will resonate. Thank you very much for dropping by to share your insights, Martin.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.